Good early evening to all of you. It's getting to be sunset time, as you can see. Not exactly a clear sky, and it would be if it weren't for all the damn jets that won't go by, as you can see up there. They kind of screw up the sky. um, so it's okay. It's still sunset and it's still beautiful. Um, I just wanted to talk to you a little memory of Richard because I like to make these videos and talk about him and talk about our experiences together. It's almost like I'm writing a diary or a journal, a kind of documentation of our life together. And today I was in the carport and I was looking at one of the old trucks. Richard loved the older truck models, like that were the Fords that were in 1960s, and they made. He had one truck that he called Baby Blue, and then there was a bigger truck that he called Big Blue, and Little Blue turned out to be a great little ranch truck. It must have been like 1962 truck, and Big Blue must have been, I don't know what year it was. It definitely older, definitely older, like maybe in the late 50s possibly. But he loved that truck, and it's still in the carport, and we never could, even though it's retired, it's retired. It's been retired for quite some time, and we just never really had the heart to get rid of it because it holds so many memories, and I don't want to get rid of it either for the same reason. So it will just stay in the carport. It is at home here. But I can tell you about the trips we made in Big Blue, and this goes back when I was quite young and Richard was young, and he was going with me up to Ashland because I had a semester I had to finish to get my master's degree there at Southern Oregon University, and it was one of the best times of my life because we stayed in Big Blue. That's where we lived while I was going to college during that semester, and it was during the summer, so it was sunny and warm, and we used to park up near one of the streams. There's a lot of, in Ashland, Oregon, a lot of streams and rivers and lakes, and we'd park there. And that's when Richard started to really get into astrology. And so he was studying astrology and I was studying Shakespeare. And the funny thing about it was he was learning about Shakespeare too, because in Ashland they had the Shakespeare Festival. And I said, Richard, I have to write a paper on King Lear. Do you want to, they're going to do an outside play on King Lear. Do you want to go? And, he said, yeah, let's go. And it was so cool. We'd sit out under the stars and watch the Shakespeare play, which was, just so amazing. It's a whole different experience to watch and listen to a Shakespeare play with actors as opposed to reading it. And so we watched it, and Richard picked up on everything. I said, this Old English, it's a little difficult for me. I'm trying to figure this out. And brilliant Richard, he could always read into all the lines and the implications and the meanings, and he kind of helped me to write the paper after watching the Shakespeare play. And it just, it was just so fun. We'd go up to a place called Big Bend in Oregon, and I guess it was not too far away from Ashland. But we take Big Blue, of course, that was our truck, and and Richard set it all up as a great little camper. He put, the had a back camper thing on the back of the truck and set it up with a really comfortable bed, and he even on his own installed a little sink in there. And we just had it made. I mean, we didn't need to stay anywhere like in a hotel or anything, because we just loved being in the truck, and it was just so cozy in there. And we were in nature wherever we went. We just drive. If we wanted to go one place, let's go check out this place. Okay. And then if we wanted to stay overnight, we could stay overnight, because we had everything we needed in the truck. So I just was thinking about that, because today I was in the carport and I was looking at Big Blue, and it almost made me cry, because Richard had the hood up for some reason. I don't really know why he had the hood up on Big Blue, and I was just looking at Big Blue, and all these memories came back of all the experiences we had traveling in that truck. And it wasn't just up in Ashland. We went to different places in Canada in that truck. And I could tell you some funny stories, like we were up there. For some reason, we were up there during the winter, and I think now it comes back to me, this is when Richard had to rent our home out. I mean, we went through kind of a rough patch, and on reflection, on retrospect, I didn't really understand. I was so young. I didn't even understand what was going on financially, but apparently, by the time he got done building the cabin and doing all that stuff, I think he was a little bit low on income. And so in order to get some income, we had to rent our cabin. And it was sad to me, because it was just built. I mean, we'd only lived in it for like a year, and then we rented it to a really nice couple. They had 2 cute little girls, and they took very good care of the cabin, mainly because of the wife, Sherry. I thought I was a clean fanatic. She was like, she made me look like, an amateur. So they were the right people to rent it to. They took very good care of it, but we were kind of out there in the big bad world, and he rented it because we needed the money. And so we were traveling up to Canada. We thought maybe we'll just go up to Canada and just play and just, have kind of a free life. That's the thing, when you don't have any money, sometimes you have to use your imagination, and it turns out you can have more fun with less money than with more money. And so we were going up to Canada, and this was, I remember one experience when we were in Big Blue, and it was winter time, and there was snow everywhere, and it was cold, and we needed chains on the tires to get up where we were going. And so Richard did have these chains, and he was used to being, we had spent time in Hawaii for a pretty long time, and he was kind of used to being in Hawaii, and he had his shorts on and his little blue t-shirt, and he's out in the snow putting chains on Big Blue. And I said to him, "What the fuck, Richard? What are you doing? This is not Hawaii. We're in the damn snow. It's freezing out here." And he said, and he jumped in the truck, said, turned on the heater, and he kind of got it, like clicked on him, like, yeah, I shouldn't have been doing that in my shorts. But there was another point where we decided to come back to California, and we thought, let's just check into a motel. We needed it, we needed a little break from the truck. So we stopped at Ramonda Inn, and we got into the room, and we had some snacks that we brought with us, some little bit of cheese and crackers, and we were just kind of, dozing off, and all of a sudden, Richard wakes up and he said, something jumped on me. And I said, what do you mean? And we turn on the light, and he says, yeah, I felt something jumping on me. So we turn on the light, and this Ramonda Inn was kind of out there in the boondocks. It was not like in a city. It was kind of out in a big open field, and so he's thinking, what the hell? What was that? And so we turn on the light, and we look in the bag where the cheese and crackers were, and there was a rat munching away on the snacks. I went, oh my God, there's a fucking rat in here. Oh, and he freaked out, and I freaked out, and he said, we got to get, this is not right. So Richard goes down to talk to the clerk or whatever down at the counter and at the lobby, and he tells the guy, and he says, the guy was named Damien, and he was obviously a little gay, according to Richard. And he says, yeah, have you ever had rats and an experience? And the guy, oh no, never, no. And Richard says, Damien. He does this voice like, come on, tell me the truth, Damien. And the guy goes, yes. And he says, well, one is in our room, and you got to do something about it. So he said, I'm sorry, that's really terrible. Okay, we're going to give you the grand suite. So he moves us to the suite, and it actually has a little pool that you can go in. And I mean, it was like deluxe, it was like the luxury suite. It had everything. It had the bar, the drinks, a little pool. And I still have pictures that Richard took of me in the pool. And I just remembered that time together, and it was such an adventure. I mean, you just never know what's going to happen when you're out there, and things happen that are a bit of a rough patch. But then the experience of it, it's just the same thing with Hawaii. When we were living in our VW camper van in Hawaii, it was the best years of my life. I swear they were. We didn't have much money, but we had the best fun, so that there is something to be said that freedom and happiness doesn't necessarily mean you have to have a whole lot of money. Sometimes it's when you're, going through kind of a rough patch, and you're experiencing adventures that are just turn out to be, amazing, absolutely amazing. And, the best things in life are free. There's something to that. All right. Have a good one, everybody. Good night.